Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate Right Now. We talk about real estate matters that matter to you. My name is Jay Izso, and we are live here from Linda Craft Team Studios here in Raleigh, North Carolina, part of the Greater Research Triangle Park. Today's show, paint, style, profit, insider tips from Rhonda Plummer, who joins us from Help Me Rhonda Interiors. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you on. You make it so easy for me. We have a lot of different things happening in the real estate world, and I'm sure they affect you on some level because we have more houses on the market.
Right.
And I also know because of the world that you live in, when it comes to interior design and looking at things, even exteriorly, and what things look like, you see also trends that are happening in your world.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I think for home sellers, because probably it affects a home buyer because they're keeping up with trends too.
Right.
But oftentimes sellers don't pay nearly as much attention because they just want to get their house sold.
Exactly.
So they don't think it matters. But can we start by talking about what are some of the newer trends that bring a freshness to a home that is for sale or listing?
So I would say the biggest trends right now is gray is going out.
Gray's gone.
Gray's going out. It's been around a long time. That's been a very long trend for sure. So warmer tones are coming back in. So you're starting to see those beiges that maybe have a little tinge of gray in them, right? But, you know, the beiges and the off-whites and the creams and then, you know, your browns and your blacks and your emerald greens and your navy blues and, you know, so just vivid colors with those warmer tones, right? So those are definitely coming back in. Minimalist is definitely in, you know, less is more, especially for this newer generation. And sometimes that's hard when you're trying to sell a house that somebody's lived in for 30 years. Right. And so usually that particular client, when you're trying to sell their house, there's a lot they need to do. And it could be, you know, just a matter of decluttering, right? It could be that client is older and they're getting ready to downsize and want to sell their house and don't know what to get rid of. And so I kind of help with that, you know, so going into people's houses, and you got to be gentle with those particular clients because, you know, they're leaving their life, right? They've raised their kids there. You know, the house is more than just a house to them.
Absolutely.
Right. It's, and they're doing it because they need to, kind of maybe for health reasons or whatever. So you got to be gentle with, like, you know, you probably need to get rid of that. And that was great grandma's, right? You know, so right. So you got to make sure that you're gentle with that type of client. And my job is to help them figure out, well, what needs to stay here? What do we need to get rid of that maybe what stays there goes to the new place, right? And help them to get rid of 30 years of stuff.
Or longer,
right? You know, so
let's break this down of some of the things that you started with, because I'm curious as to what kind of dictates these trends. Like you say, we're moving away from gray. Is it because we're seeing people purchase different colors, or what dictates that trend of color?
So the A-listers of design, more or less.
Really?
You know, so as a designer, we go to these things called markets, right? You know, so a big one here is actually here in North Carolina. So the High Point Furniture Market, twice a year. And you go and you see what's coming. So let's just say you've got a Highline designer, you know, let's just say the Property Brothers. Everybody knows who the Property Brothers are from HGTV or Joanna Gaines or whoever the case may be. They have furniture lines, or they collaborate with rug companies, furniture companies, you know, all of these different things. And they're designing these new things. Could be wallpaper, could be any of that, right? And those are the new products that are coming to market, and people like me or people who own furniture stores or whatever the case are going to market and saying, oh, this is some new, this looks different, right? This is some new things. And there for a while, going to market was kind of boring because everything was the same. So I would say in the last 2 markets, probably starting to see that new trend coming. Now it takes about 6 months to a year for those to come into fruition.
Got it.
Right. So what you see at market is not even available yet. You know, it's like, we're showing you this. Do you like it? If you are, you're buying it. And then that's what they bring, you know, to market. So usually trends start in California, and it usually takes about a year and a half for it to even get this far. Like the brushed brass, for instance, was in California 2-3 years before it ever got really popular here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that is I'm always curious about, because I've always wondered, you know, where do these trends come from? I wasn't sure if it was dictated by sales, you know, like more people are purchasing blue, you know.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and yet color is such a personal preference.
It really is.
And so I think it's hard. I think it's hard to tell somebody who's putting their house up for sale, you need to change your color.
Well, I'm also a big on, let's talk about that 30-year-old house, right? You just can't go in and just paint the house gray because gray's in style, and nothing in their house is gray. The countertops aren't gray. The tile isn't gray. You know, that would look horrible. It wouldn't present itself well. So my job is to come up with that color, right, that looks good with the house and any little updates that you may make, but also kind of appeals to the masses, right? That very neutral type of tone that everybody would kind of be like, go in and go, okay, I can live with this. It might not be my thing, but I could live with this because it's so neutral, right?
Yeah.
So,
you know, I spoke at the Toronto Real Estate Board years ago, and I did a talk on It's Mine and I Own It. And it was really understanding the psychology of how sellers think that, you know, this is more, you said it, this is more than just a house to me. Right. And it's really more than just a home. There are all sorts of memories. I know I got to let it go because I got to move, whether I'm downsizing, upsizing, or you know, relocating, or we need to do something different, get a different house, whatever it may be. But there is an emotional attachment that you have to run into on a regular basis as to going, you know what, this house was great for us. This home was great for us. You know, we had our kids here. We raised our kids here, blah, 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 blah. You know, our mom, you know, lived here with us before she passed. And so there's got to be a delicate way that you walk into a house. that says,
delicate's a really good word there, Jay.
That where you have to go, we need to make, if you want this house to really sell, right, you're going to have to make some changes. I think, where do you start?
I think it's acknowledging that they're feeling about the house. You acknowledge it. I know that you love this room and you love your home and you love this, but if we're going to sell it, let's think about who would buy this house. You know, I always say this is probably going to be a family house. Right. So just like you bought it when you were young with young kids, that's probably what's going to end up happening here. So we got to appeal to that younger crowd, right? That, you know, is coming up and just starting to raise their children. Right. So you have to acknowledge their feeling about the house and then gradually go into, maybe we need to update this. Where are we going to get the most bang for our buck? Right. So that your house presents itself as well as the new cookie cutter house down the street.
Yeah. I think from your perspective, when I think about it, it's like, okay, when these folks first purchased their house a number of years ago, they were at a different age, at a different time. Right. They wanted it to be their taste, what they wanted. We have a new generation of people who are coming to purchase this house. They're not you. They're not from your generation. They're from a completely different generation than you are. And so
they don't like the jacuzzi tub.
Right.
Right.
Right. No, I get it. They don't. They don't.
Right.
And so sometimes I think for sometimes sellers who are competing in a market like this, wrapping their mind around that, when I bought this house, we made it to our taste.
Right.
And now somebody's coming in. Are we really making it to the next buyer's taste? I think that's a hard transition, and that's got to be one you deal with.
Exactly. And you got to determine, how much are you willing to put into it money wise to update this house. I always say to every client I have, keep your house updated.
Right.
Don't wait till you get ready to sell it.
Right.
Because there's little things that you can do just to keep things updated. Change your faucets every so often. Change your lighting every so. Those are big things. If your house is very neutral, those things can really make a big statement. Right. If your doorknobs in your house are starting to turn, colors, let's update them, right? It's just like updating those small, like I say, hardware and lighting, right, is like the biggest bang for your buck, quite honestly. Right. So I hate it when somebody has not done anything to their house in 30 years and then they go to sell it and they think they're going to get top dollar. They're not, right? And I know that's hard for a realtor to explain too.
Well, and especially in a competitive market now.
Yes.
Because we have so many listings, you're competing against so many more. We're seeing some in resales, especially price drops from last year.
Right.
The prices are going down because we have got more houses on the market.
Right.
And everybody, of course, is upset with the real estate agent because they're going, well, what are you doing? Right. Well, what we're doing is we're still trying to market it right as best as we can, but the competition keeps increasing. Right. And so then they get upset and we say, well, that the fact, and this is a fact. I'm not saying this.
Exactly. These are facts.
So, but what I'm about to say to you is a fact.
Yeah.
The fact is price does overcome every single objection.
Right.
It
does.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
That's not a
money
cop
talks,
out.
right?
That's not a cop out. It's just a reality that price overcomes any objection that a buyer may have for your house. But there could be some things that you could do to mitigate that a little bit, right? And so this is where you come in, I think. And you said something to me last night that I thought was really provocative to me. And that was, there is a hesitancy when you are selling your house to want to put money in before you sell it.
Right.
But oftentimes that may be the very thing that gets your house to stand out amongst the competition. Right. Talk about that for a little bit.
I think sometimes, let's just say that, you could update your lighting, you could update, fresh coat of paint, you can change the knobs on your cabinets, you can, maybe if your faucets are not looking good or they're 30 years old, we might need to update those little updates. I've done a lot of updates with clients that are selling their house. Maybe they put $50,000 into getting it ready and maybe got that back plus more when they sold it.
Right.
Because what you have always in every area is somebody who, when they see a house that's not updated, come in and lowballing you because they want to flip it. You got the flippers around here.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
For sure.
We sure do.
And so they are, getting you lowballed. And then let's face it, this new generation that's coming in buying houses, they don't want to do anything. They want to move in and not have to do any projects. That's a good majority. I would not say all of them, but I would say a good majority.
But there's only a small percentage that want to do it their way.
Exactly. And so it's like they don't want to come in and have to do a bunch of projects. There's not a lot lot of that younger crowd, that wants to do that. And then when you get the older crowd that's buying a house, they won't do it either.
They don't want to do it either because they don't got the
They're
time.
just tired.
They're just tired. They don't have the energy anymore to do it. I don't want to do it. I call Rhonda. I go, I don't want to do this. Rhonda, do you do it? I don't want to hang these new LED lights. You have to do it.
You do it.
You do it. You find somebody to do it because I'm not dealing with it.
Exactly. So the less projects, the more you're going to get for your house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just the way it goes. And then when you're talking about staging your house, the furniture and the way it looks, that's important. I think, working with realtors, a staged house sells a whole lot faster than an empty house.
Yeah.
Right. But it has to be staged
appropriately. Right. Because I was going to say, but a cluttered house kills you too.
Kills you.
So you can't be empty. You can't be cluttered. So there is something.
That's where I come in.
Right.
And it's really, it's difficult with some people, especially with, the things that you're telling people to get rid of everything that's personal. You want to think about that HGTV house that you see on TV that they have presented. There's nothing personal about it. It just looks good. So it goes to the masses. And so, I've gone to houses and maybe they had a sofa that, they have dogs or they have kids and the sofa just is pitiful. Right. And they're like, but I don't want to buy a new sofa, Well, you're moving. Maybe you can use that new sofa here. Right. But you'll be able to move it with you.
Right.
So my job is like, what kind of sofa is going to fit anywhere you go? Right. So I'm able to tell you that. Right. And it's like, sometimes buying furniture to do your house is not a bad thing. Right.
Oh, right.
Right. It just depends on what it is. If you're moving, a lot of times I know the house they're moving to. I'll go to that new house, check it out, see what works. Right. So it's a lot to getting your house ready and getting it sold if you want to get top dollar. If you're like, I just got to get out of here and don't care, then hey, then don't do anything.
Then sit and wait.
Because that's what you're gonna do.
Because that's what's happening.
And you're gonna get lowballed.
Right. And we're seeing that. And the more days on market, the lower the offer becomes.
Exactly.
Right. Is what ends up
because
happening.
they look at that.
Right. Because
people look at it.
They do look at it.
A knowledge buyer is going to ask that question. Like, how long has this house been on for sale?
First thing they do with a buyer's representative, buyer's broker is you'll hear the buyer's broker even say to the buyer, well, this house has been on the market for 90 days or 120 days, right?
Right.
Which we're not used to, right? Because we were in a market where there was multiple offers and things were getting off the market in, less than a day.
Right.
Right. That's not happening now.
Right.
So now, and I hate using this word, but it is true. You're in a competition and it's a beauty pageant.
It is a beauty pageant.
I'm sorry, but it really
is.
It's a beauty pageant now.
Right.
And you go, yeah, but my house has got, 2x14s that are constructed with, and I don't use 2x4s in my walls. Those are 2x6s and they're, whatever. Right. They don't care. I learned something when I was learning to cook over the course of time. And one of the things that the great chefs say is the first thing we do is we eat with our eyes.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Which really irritated me because I grew up on the farm, right? Food tasted really, really good, but it didn't always look real pleasant.
Exactly.
Right? Which irritated me. But when you realize that when you're spending money at a restaurant, we do look at the plate presentation.
For sure.
Housing is really not much different. When we're spending a lot of money, right, on something special, we are taking a very superficial outward look with the eyes. And what do your eyes tell you?
Exactly.
Which is what you try to do. The problem is, from a seller standpoint, I know I've been there.
My house is great.
Right? My eyes are biased.
Yeah, exactly.
My eyes are biased.
Right.
And it's not because it's what I'm used to, not because I can't really see it. It's because I've been there my whole time, right?
Exactly.
And so the house is aged, right? Just like all of us, by the way. All of us age, right? Sorry, skin is not looking nearly as tight as it did 20 years ago.
Sorry, you just pull it up.
I know there's a doctor for that. By the way, there's a doctor for that for your house.
That's right. That's right.
Right? And because it is a facelift.
It is. And, don't forget about the outside. I can promise you, if we ask Linda or any of her realtors, how many times have you taken a buyer to a house and they wouldn't even go in the house?
Right.
Because it looked so bad from the outside.
Right.
I'm sure that happens all the time. So what happens, when you're a buyer, and obviously if you've bought at least one house and you're in the process, you got to flip your mind to think about when you were buying, what were you looking at? If you go drive up to a house and the yard is in a disarray, the bushes haven't been trimmed, you've never washed the driveway, you've not painted the house in 20 years, haven't even sprayed, power washed it, done anything, right? Then in a buyer's mind, they're thinking, well, gosh, have they kept up the HVAC system? Have they kept up any kind of maintenance in this house?
Right.
That's what you think of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you just drive on. Right. Well, you don't even think about it.
Yeah. And another analogy here. You're buying a used car. If it hasn't been washed or vacuumed,
right.
How much time are you going to spend looking at that car?
Not a lot.
Not a lot of time, right?
Right.
It's so critical to have your eye, because your eye is not biased.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
I think
I can see the potential.
Right. Somebody said to me, my neighbor said to me, "Gosh, did you get your car repainted?" And I said, "No, I got it washed because it looks great." And I go, "I know, because when I'm here at the office, we have somebody washes the cars here.
Right.
Every 2 weeks.
The detail thing. Yeah.
Right. Does
it.
the whole detail thing. Right. And they go, "Because your car looks great." And I'm like going, how bad was my Jeep looking before that? Right. But the wheels are always shiny, right? The tires are always shiny.
Right.
The trim is, been done where it's dark and it looks really, instead of the grayed out black trim, it just looks really, really good. And I started thinking about it from my neighbor's perspective, looking at my Jeep,
right,
which was clean. I took it through the car wash and everything. But when it's detailed,
it's a different story. They noticed
it.
Right.
And
that was Rick, wasn't it? I know
it was Rick. It was Rick. It was Rick and Angie.
Yeah.
And so I think about that in terms of the house, right? And you said a few things here. When's the last time you power washed the house? You got brick. When's the last time you power washed the brick?
They're spiders, people. Webs get all over. Rain, just pollen gets in that brick, right? It is just like, got to clean your house.
Right. Well, how about the white gutters?
Yes.
That
they
are
all yucky.
That are all yucky. And maybe they need to be washed. Maybe they need new coat of paint. Maybe they need to be changed.
Right.
Right. Which doesn't necessarily have to be expensive.
Right.
What's that roof line look like?
Exactly.
Is it, because do you know the first thing that a buyer thinks when they see stains on the roof? Oh, that roof's got to be changed.
Right. That's right.
You may have had it done 5 years ago, but it looks stained, right?
Right.
And they're going, well, we're going to lower the offer because that roof's probably going to have to go next year.
Right.
So I'm going to figure $20,000, whatever. So I'm going to take that right off the price, right? But that's how people think.
Exactly. And it's, you just got to get your house in tip-top shape. I mean, you just do. Think about your house being on an interview. When you go on an interview for a job, you're your best self. Right. So if you think of it that way, your house is being interviewed. It's a good way to think of it.
It really is.
Right. So, and sometimes you just need that little extra help. Right. Realtors hire me to be the bad guy. That's what I always say.
Right.
In other words, we're just going to hire Rhonda to be the bad guy because Rhonda's going to come in and tell them what they need to do. They're going to listen to me a little bit more than they would probably listen to that average realtor. Now, to be fair, there's a lot of realtors out here that have good design eye and they know what to do. They've been doing it a long time.
Right.
They know. Listen to your realtor. They're not your enemy.
Right.
They're trying to market your house as well as they can. And you got to cooperate if you want to sell your house.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. It's true. And it's interesting because there is this really, really weird thing about what happens psychologically, because, it's my field, that psychologically that when you turn from buyer to seller, how your psychology,
your brain just switches.
your brain just switches so bad.
Yeah.
Because when you were a buyer,
right,
you're a seller now, but when you were a buyer,
mm-hmm.
you wanted the lowest price you could possibly get.
Right.
Now you're a seller.
And you want the highest.
You want the highest price you could possibly get.
Exactly.
Right. So what are you going to do? And that's the questions that, we pose to you is, what do we do then? And you said something to me, I guess, start from the outside and then move in.
That first impression is everything.
Right.
And that's the outside of your house.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It just is that first impression. So let's think about this like a job interview, right? So if you went to a job interview for a nice office job, let's just say office job.
Flip-flops and shorts.
That's not a good first impression, is it? They probably have just completely knocked you off of the list.
Right.
And it just is what it is. It's reality, right? You could be the best office employee that there ever was in America, right? And that first impression just knocked them completely off the list. That's the same thing with a house, right? So if the outside looks good, then okay, we're going to get to know you a little bit better.
Right.
And we're going to go in.
Right.
Okay. Now let's just say you're in that job interview, right? You look good on the outside, but you go in and maybe your language is foul, or maybe you're just, you don't know how to talk well, or you just are not making a good impression with your personality. That would be a house that's not updated.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you think about it that way, then it kind of makes sense a little bit more to that average person. So you want it to be its best self. And sometimes people just don't know how to do that, Jay. They just don't know how. Yeah. And that's why you listen to designers, or you listen to your realtor, or whatever the case may be. They're there to help you, not to hinder you.
Right. Would you, when you pull up to a house as a designer, I know your eye well enough because we've worked together on several projects, and personally, we've worked together and continue to.
Yes.
By the way, when you pull up to a house, I am certain that you take a look at what you first see on the outside.
Absolutely. Right.
Do you ever get in a position where you walk into somebody who is getting ready to sell their house and say to them, you probably need to prune the trees?
Yes. I start on the outside, quite honestly, with most of them. I'll go in and kind of see the house, and it's step by step of what we need to maybe do to get this house prepared. I start outside, right? I've also been to houses before too, where you've got this very traditional house on the inside, and then you walk in and it's ultra modern on the inside. Houses need to be the kind of the same style outside, inside to some degree, right? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you have like a colonial house on the outside and then a New York loft on the inside, it looks weird, right? When people walk in.
Yeah, if you have 5'4" in the door and you go to a contemporary.
Yeah, it looks.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit confusing to our brain.
It is. It is, and there are things that you can do to an outside of a house to make that inside fit the outside. I mean, there's always something you can do. Think about your building here. We changed the facade of this completely from colonial to a little bit more.
We had red brick.
Yeah.
And we painted the brick.
Yeah. Completely changed the look of it, right? You can do that to just about any house if you really wanted to.
I think I like your analogy here of the interview.
Yeah.
I really do, because whether we like it or not, you walk into a job interview, and I do interviews, right? I've done interviews for other companies, right? And the first thing I am doing, it's just true. How did you come in?
Right. Your appearance.
Your appearance, your attitude, everything that I could see on the outside.
Right. Are you
All right,
smiling? Are you?
all
Right.
If you've got past that with me,
Right.
and you sit down in front of me, which you're going to get to do, you sit down in front of me. Now I've stepped through the door.
Right.
Now I'm asking other questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the inside of you?
Right. That's right.
Right. And I think we do the same thing with the house. Okay, you got me in the door because you got
the outside looks good.
The outside looks good. This is good. This is a good first step.
Right.
But now I want to know, is the inside match the outside?
Exactly.
Because
not always they don't. Right.
Yeah. I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately with age, I've gone to a lot of funerals.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of beautiful caskets.
Yes.
On the outside.
Yes.
But we all know what's on the inside.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's a really good analogy. And I use it a lot, with sellers, to help them kind of understand that it's not personal. It's not a personal thing. This is a business transaction at this point. It's business, right? So you got to switch your brain to my baby was born here, to like, my baby's grown now and I'm moving on with life. Right.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard when you've lived in a house a long time like that.
Sometimes sellers don't want to change paint colors. And I can understand that. I really don't want to invest. And I don't know what the next buyer is going to want. And they'll offer a painting allowance or a carpet allowance. How does that play for you? Is that something that's reasonable, or what are your thoughts when you hear they're going to offer, rather than changing the paint, we're going to offer $5,000 to change out the carpet, or $5,000 for paint, or whatever the number is? I'm just making up a number.
I think it lowers, quite honestly, the buyers that want to come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make sure you have that buyer, because obviously it's on that little sheet,
right?
The buyer's agent has, right? And it says on here, okay, well, don't look at the paint, don't look at the carpet, because they're going to give you an allowance.
But I am looking at the paint and I am looking at the carpet. Right. And I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there seems to be a delicacy here with that, right? Because I get the point. I don't want to pick something new that you're not going to like.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how do you roll the dice on that and make a good decision? Like do you go, we used to have this thing, just make everything builder beige. That was what we used to say.
Right.
But now, because as we started the show, we have trends and colors, and we have a generation that wants to come in and doesn't want to do anything, and doesn't want to take the time to do it. So I'm putting these pieces together going, what's the win?
What's the win?
Yeah.
It's just, I would say personally that you want your house to be its best self. You want it to show up at that interview at 100%. Mm-hmm. And you got to be willing to put the money into it. But let's face it, you're going to get your money back. I have a good example. So working with a client now, her brother passed away. She inherited the house because he, only family. And it's in Wake Forest, great, starter type home, like probably have multiple offers on it, but bad shape, hasn't been touched, smoked in it. I smelled like a smokestack. I mean, it literally, either she was going to have to sell that house to a flipper at like $100,000, because that's probably what they would have offered her, or she could put $100,000 in it and sell it for $354,000. She chose to fix it, gutted it. So we completely are gutting it and redoing it so she can get top dollar for it. But that house is going to be perfect for that starter family. She's probably going to end up getting multiple. We're just about finished with it. And she's probably going to get multiple offers on it, because we all know in this realty world, that's the price range that is not around much.
Right.
That starter home, price range. And
anything under 450.
It'll go in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it goes
right.
quickly.
And so that was a good decision on her part. Right. So she's going to put 100 in it, and probably going to make her 100 back plus another 100 probably.
Right. Just because she's doing it.
Yeah.
You brought up something here, smoke in homes.
don't smoke in your home, people. Go outside,
Yeah.
do something, because it is hard to get that smell out. Like in this particular,
What do you have to do when that happens?
so in this particular house, it was so bad, we had to kills all the drywall and the subfloor.
So you had to pull everything up, and you had to kills all of it.
Had to kills all of the subfloor.
By the way, that's KILZ.
Yes. So kills is a very, very strong substance that'll kill whatever is there. You're going to smell the kills over anything else, and it penetrates into it. So so everything was, pulled up and kills, and I swear, and then they run those oxygenator air purifier things in there for a long time, as well. But we finally got it out. But yeah, we at one point thought we were probably going to have to do all new drywall, but we didn't.
Yeah, because I don't think what people realize is, well, first of all, your carpet's gone.
Oh, gone.
You cannot keep your carpet if you smoke in the house.
No.
You can't, because it just holds everything.
No.
And then people don't understand that smoke can actually penetrate drywall,
your flooring,
and your flooring, and it's
everywhere,
and it's very difficult to get that out.
Right.
And there's a reason that there's actually companies that do smoke remediation.
Yeah.
Right.
It's found.
It's
so the best thing that you could do to hold the value of your house is to not smoke in your house. If you smoke, it's up to you.
Right.
But it's like, go outside, have a designated area for it or something, because it will ruin the value of your house.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as we kind of wrap up here, if you were to say, these are my top 3 things that I'd recommend that you do practically to get your house in the best interview shape, what would be those top 3 things?
It's kind of hard, because it really depends on the house.
Okay.
But if the house has any age on it, it's probably going to be paint.
Okay.
Carpet.
Okay.
If you have carpet, and staging.
Okay. We didn't talk about it, but it just hit my mind. A lot of houses have hardwood floors.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
Mm-hmm.
We chose with you
mm-hmm.
to take our hardwoods and even them out, and then put luxury vinyl plank on them, which looks beautiful.
It's great, and it's very durable.
And it's very durable. Maybe that's one too they might want to consider.
I recommend that if your floor is in really, really bad shape, then that is always an option to do that. And the good thing about the LVP is there's no nails, there's no glue, there's no screw in it or nothing, right? So if you have hardwoods under there, they're just in bad shape, they need to be refinished or whatever, it's not messing them up. Right. It's just, so if a new buyer comes in and they decide that they want to take the time to refinish those floors one day, all you got to do is pop that stuff up and refinish the floors. There's no damage to the hardwood floors whatsoever.
And you and I both know, because you've been through a house with me when we've had to redo our hardwood floors.
It's not pretty.
And I don't care how much we tarp it, refinishing hardwood floors,
it's messy.
Dust is everywhere.
It's messiest thing. Plus you got to leave.
Yeah.
You can't live in that. I mean, the fumes are just incredible.
Yeah. It's a pretty good alternative. It's
a really good alternative. That's for sure. And it's, you got lower end ones, higher end ones, just like everything else in this world, right?
Right. No. So, by the way, this has been great. This is a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun with you when we get to do this together. It's always so much fun. You make it so easy. Tell people, the world out there, how they go. Help me Rhonda. Tell them how they get a hold of you.
So it's helpmerhondainteriors.com, or you can call my office at 919-263-9054.
Awesome. Give them the phone number one more time.
919-263-9054.
Perfect. Folks, just to show you a lot of choices, you chose us. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us a 5-star positive review wherever you're listening to the show. If you're watching the show, make comments. If you've watched us, we'd love to hear some comments about what you would like to hear us talk about. It'd be great. As long as it's relative to the real estate world. We'd love to hear that as well. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.